This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Yay, holidays.
Oh, I'm just glad I finally get some damn sleep tonight.
Hey, that's not bad.
Literally been like 2 weeks.
Hey, well, I have no transition for that. I could probably put the time.
Fuck it, let's start.
There it is.
Transition.
Fuck it, let's start episode 243 of the Afford Fair podcast. I'm Edward Green, rejoined by my Colin Crime West Bradshaw for our 2019 season, if we did seasons like that, which we don't. But of course, we have plenty to talk about this week. We will run quickly through the holiday premiere schedule, stopping, of course, to Rubberneck at the, I guess you only rubberneck at crashes, and this wasn't really a crash, unless I guess if you're a Liverpool fan who thought you were going to go undefeated for the entire season.
That was only Dejan Lovren.
There you go. So that'll be our Premier League wrap up. Also, real quick, because it's Cup season, hey, we'll have an FA Cup and League Cup quick preview of what's coming in the next week, because that's exciting. We'll also have one news and note. It is a big news and note, especially for you MLS fans out there, and really just in European football news as well, I guess. We'll also, of course, have Watch For and So Raw. As always, we are presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. As well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. Holiday season's over, bitches. You didn't get your significant other present. You fucked up. And no amount of jewelry or chocolates or flowers is going to help that. No, you need to get right on over to Alicia's Pillows and Things on Facebook and get them a sweet, sweet Philadelphia Eagles ottoman right now. Do it. Do it. Just do it, man. Do it. Thank you, Alicia's Pillows and Things. So let's get started. Again, we're going to go chronological order real quick. Wes, feel free to stop me if you want to mention anything about these matches, but not a whole lot to talk about, I think, for a lot of these. Let's start back on Thursday, December 27th, where we last left you guys. Felipe Anderson had a brace in that match to give West Ham a 2-1 victory over Southampton. That was a comeback victory for the Irons in that one as they get the road win. Their week would not get much better, though, unfortunately. Leicester City falls to Cardiff on Saturday, 1-0. Thanks to a very late goal for Cardiff from Victor Camarasa as he puts Cardiff ahead in the 92nd minute. It was a stunner of a match for Tottenham as they lose 3-1 at Wembley to Wolves. Harry Kane with what unfortunately will never be remembered as a potential goal of the season candidate. Got Tottenham on the board in the 22nd minute. But some just Tottenham implosioning allowed Wolves to score 3 times in the final 20 minutes to take the points at Wembley. Watford and Newcastle played to a 1-1 draw. Watford getting level in the 82nd minute thanks to Abdullah Doucouré scoring for the Hornets. Fulham with a giant win over Huddersfield 1-0 thanks to Alexander Mitrovic in the 91st minute. Of course, there was, I believe there was some, this was the one where there was some controversy about who would take penalties. Yes, the Abubakar Kamara missing the penalty in that one, which could have spelled doom for Fulham, but it did not, as Mitrovic saves the day. There you go, Christian Benteke. Sometimes people get saved. Brighton and Hove beats Everton 1-0. Everton sort of slumping a little bit, as one has to wonder if the Marco Silva effect is of the brief variety, as Everton are not winning as much as they had been to start the season. And Wes, real quick, Liverpool trouncing Arsenal 5-1. Liverpool gave them hope in the beginning as Maitland-Niles was allowed to score, the youngster coming on in the 11th minute and putting Arsenal on top at Anfield. But then Liverpool awoke and utterly destroyed Arsenal. 5 minutes later, Firmino had a brace, and it was 2-1 Liverpool. Mane, Salah, and Firmino would pick up his hat-trick in the 65th minute through a penalty. Just complete control from Liverpool, though, throughout the match.
Firmino picking up his first Liverpool hat-trick. And like you said, it was just an utter destruction. And at the end of the day, Liverpool overran them in midfield. Decimated them at the back. A little sloppiness early, sort of the same sloppiness early we saw against City today. The match we'll get to in a little bit. But when they were covered. And really in that match, for the first time this season, we saw Liverpool really kind of unleash the beast in much the same way that they did a season ago. It's been a much more reserved Liverpool squad this year, a squad that has relied on its defense. And I mean, that has not done really bad for them at all. They had the best defense in the Premier League, so why not ride it and not play quite as open? But they went on a tear where they got that open game like they did a year ago. And that was the first time that it's really looked like we're seeing the Liverpool of last year. Now the whole key is going to be to find the happy medium in those two, where, hey, let's just score 4 goals, and then keep a clean sheet. But a really good win for Liverpool. A fantastic reply when going down a goal at home. First time they trailed at home all season. Reply was swift and it was deadly, and Liverpool easily deserved all 3 points. As for Arsenal, I think everyone has blown hot and cold on Arsenal this year. First, they were horrible when they lost the first 2 matches. Then they go on the 20-match unbeaten streak, and wait, they're actually good. No, I mean, they're not great. They're a good team.
They're better, I think, than we thought they'd be, but they weren't as good as they were when they were in their unbeaten run.
I agree. And you can still look at this Arsenal squad and you can see the holes that are there. And there are definitely places that it's going to take at least a couple of transfer windows to fix. But Arsenal, they are at least showing a different sort of determination and heart this season. They just don't have the players right now. One, to really do what Unai Emery wants to do, and 2, just when it's head-to-head and time to go up with the really good teams, I don't think they're just not good enough, especially in the back. And it showed through in this match.
I would certainly agree with that. And the thing you have to worry about Arsenal, as we'll get to, I'm sure, maybe not so much this week, but potentially in later weeks, is with the resurgence of Manchester United, which maybe has a little bit to do with who they've played. Arsenal may end up finishing in that 6th spot that we kind of thought that might happen at the beginning of the season, with United now just 3 points back of Arsenal for 5th place. So we're going to have to keep an eye on them and see how they respond in the coming weeks here. But yeah, I think, again, Arsenal, better than we thought they were going to be, but you're right, Wes. They're still just so shaky in the back that if they can't score with you, there's just not a whole lot of hope there. And against the top half, the top level of the table, they're just going to struggle against the really good teams. So,
all right.
Let's move on to Sunday now. Chelsea squeak out a win against resilient Crystal Palace 1-0 at Selhurst Park. N'Golo Kante, of course, N'Golo Kante with the goal there. City beat Southampton 3-1. City starting to get healthy again at what may be just the right time to stop their holiday skid. They beat Southampton in that one, thanks in part to an own goal from James Ward-Prowse. Burnley gets an important 2-0 victory over West Ham. Manchester United, as I mentioned, continues winning ways thanks to a 4-1 victory over Bournemouth. Bournemouth did get one back just at the stroke of halftime to make it 3-1 thanks to Nathan Ackey. But Paul Pogba's brace really the difference overall in this one. And as we texted Wes, just good to see Paul Pogba putting in the effort. Way to really be a professional and give that effort. Not that you gave it when Josie was there, but hey, good for you for doing it now. Good on you.
That situation with Pogba, man, that catch-22. Because you can literally spin it any way you like. Mm-hmm. You can totally throw it all on Pogba for just being a shithead, which, don't get me wrong, he has been a shithead. But then you can also turn around in the other way and say, this totally goes to show you that Mourinho had completely lost that locker room.
Oh, absolutely.
And that United were insane to keep him around as long as they did. And now you see what happens. And, I mean, really, when you look at it, Pogba – he has been given a lot more freedom suddenly to play like Paul Pogba. Mm-hmm. He's suddenly playing like a guy who costs almost £100 million.
Shocking.
Instead of being a supremely talented player who is told, okay, you do this, and if you do this, we're gonna beat your ass out. So, it does run both ways, but it does kind of smack in the face of a lack of professionalism from Manchester United as a whole. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it also shows how poorly run they are right now just for letting Mourinho stick around in this situation.
Yay, now we got to worry about what could possibly happen.
Everybody sucks.
There you go. As we hit January 1st, New Year's Day, all was not quiet for some of these teams. Leicester City with a big 1-0 victory at Goodison. Thanks to Jamie Vardy, had his New Year's Day party in the 58th minute. That got the Foxes the 3 points. Arsenal rebounding with a 4-1 victory over Fulham. Goals from Xhaka, Lacazette, Ramsey, and Aubameyang gave Arsenal the points there at the Emirates. And Tottenham rebounded nicely with a 3-0 victory over Cardiff. Very clinical. In 26 minutes, it was basically done thanks to goals from Kane, Eriksen, and Son. Of course, Kane, that one season wonder. Maybe, just maybe, he'll actually be good at some point. As we head to Wednesday, Chelsea and Southampton played to a 0-0 draw as Chelsea dropped big points at home that they are sorely going to need, I believe, as we head into the final half of the season. West Ham and Brighton and Hove played to a 2-2 draw as Marko Arnautovic has a 3-minute brace to pull West Ham back from the brink. Palace, big 2-0 winners at Wolves, because this is how Wolves run apparently. They can win on the road at Tottenham and then lose at home to Crystal Palace. Burnley gets an important win on the road at Huddersfield, coming back from a goal down thanks to Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes. Bournemouth and Watford, I want to say they played the most entertaining match of the year so far. Of course, we know from today that that's not true anymore. But really, it wasn't even the most entertaining match. It was just the most entertaining half of football I think we've seen so far this season. Bournemouth and Watford playing to a 3-3 draw with 4 goals coming in a 6-minute time span near the end of the first half. All 6 goals coming in the first half, pair from Troy Deeney for Watford, leading to this big 3-3 draw. And Manchester United, thanks to goals from Romelu Lukaku and Marcus Rashford, beat Newcastle 2-0. So now we get to today's action. The reason we postponed this pod to today, I'm sure we would love to do it under better circumstances, especially for Wes. Unfortunately, it is not. Still, if you were a neutral, this has been one of the best matches we've seen in the Premier League, certainly over the last couple of years. These two teams have been butting heads very hard the last couple of years, and today was one of the epicenters of the battle. Manchester City versus Liverpool at the Etihad. City comes out. Somehow John Stones keeps Liverpool off the score sheet in about the 20th minute. Still not totally sure how he did that, especially after the massive fuck up that nearly led to the goal being scored for Liverpool. City dodge a bullet, then Aguero bullets one in. Where I love one of the tweets I saw was from somebody who said, for those wondering how Alisson did not save that Aguero shot, I would like to direct you to this Wikipedia article, or I think no, he said complaining about why he didn't, and the Wikipedia article was the article on slow motion, and how things appear much easier in slow motion. Aguero with the bullet there. But Liverpool was not out of it. They picked up the pace in the second half. Roberto Firmino brought them back to level in the 64th minute, only to be undone by Leroy Sané, who it doesn't seem like we've talked about much this season. But he comes in the 72nd minute to save City, maybe their entire Premier League season in the 72nd minute, because a draw might have almost effectively ended the title race, at least for City. But City get the win. They hold on. 2-1 victors over Liverpool. And Wes, I know this stings, and this is a rough way to end what had been a perfect season in the Premier League so far for Liverpool. But we were given one hell of a match today.
I mean, that is the thing, a match for, we've talked about this before, a match for the neutrals.
Yes, even Jamie Carragher said it.
Exactly.
I don't do a great Jamie Carragher. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm under the weather, so I'm definitely not trying to do Carragher.
It's fine.
Liverpool. I mean, really, at the end of the day, City are deserving winners. Liverpool lucky at times. The one that everybody's going to remember. It was a double whammy on there for Liverpool, because first, Mane's ball hits off the post and straight out. Later when Sané scored, Sané hits the post and it bounces in. Yeah. And that was kind of how the day went. And then John Stones, I mean, I will say one of the, however you look at VAR and everything that's coming in, I think one thing that you cannot argue with is goal line technology.
Oof, no way.
I mean, this could have been one that we fought about forever, but when you go to the goal line technology, it clearly shows the entire ball did not cross the plane.
Yeah.
You got to break the line with the whole ball. 1.82 centimeters is the difference in Liverpool potentially running away with the title and this. And also, you just got to take into effect. Now, this is a what if question. Liverpool scoring first and City, where would the panic have immediately set in if Liverpool had gotten that first goal? Because now suddenly it's holy shit. This is what happens. They come here, they score on us, and then they run us out.
Right.
So, it'll always go down as a what if that ball had gotten in. But, all credit in the world to John Stones. Didn't quit on it. Got his foot in, hooked it out. Beat silence on the ball. And it was just – it was extremely fortuitous for City. If they go on to win the title by a point or something like that, obviously that's going to be the biggest turnaround moment of the season. Aguero comes down, as you rightfully mentioned, hits an absolute missile from about 4 yards out. Okay, Allison should have got to it. You get to it.
Yeah.
Literally anyone else get to it. No one else is getting to that. I mean, it's just, and unfortunately, Allison is a human being and just didn't quite get his hands up high enough at the time. So, yeah, everyone can go back when they're looking at a studio 30 minutes later and tell him what he should have done. Well, he should have moved his feet. Oh, he should have had his hands positioned higher. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Don't give me that shit. That's just a hell of a shot. And later the goal by Sané, I mean, once again, physics, it just hit in the right part of the post.
Yeah.
where Mane's hit in the wrong part of the post.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Liverpool were very sloppy with their passing.
Yes.
Liverpool put themselves behind the 8 ball a few times, gave the ball away way too many times in their own territory. And at the end of the day, City deserved winners. They go out, they get it. But, as a Liverpool fan, you can take it one of two ways. Either, oh, God, this is what we thought, the sky's falling. Or you look at it and say, well, you know what, we could go out and lose next week, and we'd still be in first place when the weekend's over.
Yeah.
So, I'm me. I'm more of a glass half full person.
The ever optimist.
I am the ever optimist. I see this just as a blip on the old road trip this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Liverpool, if Liverpool just go out and do what they do, which is go and win matches. Okay, I mean you've played the second best team in the league now.
Mm-hmm.
You've played them twice. We don't have to play City anymore. We don't have to play Arsenal anymore. Still got Chelsea, Tottenham to come. But you know what? All of the other teams where we have, out of the top 6, we have 3 matches left. Everyone else has 4.
Mm-hmm.
So points are going to be dropped somewhere by someone. All Liverpool can do, at this point, Liverpool are the only team that completely control their destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Just do what we've done all season. We'll be fine. Hey, if we go down and we lose one match of City this season and we win a title, hey, good on you, City. It was a great match. We won the title. So, just, God, don't freak out. There are people freaking out for absolutely no reason of this.
Because that's what people do. Obviously. They don't know how to handle success. And they don't know how to handle minor setbacks that come from that success, which is probably the bigger problem. Do want to give a quick shout to City. Getting through the match with Vincent Kompany, who is at this point basically a corpse. Getting through the match with Danilo, who is not the first choice back for Kyle Walker, although
the second choice back.
maybe there's a falling out in there. I don't know. And of course, one of the big talks with, David Silva, Fernandinho, and Kevin De Bruyne, which were so critical for their Premier League run last year, basically haven't played together, I think, more than 18 minutes this year. And that's something big that City needs to have happen and get back. De Bruyne started on the bench today, but Silva and Fernandinho were in, and that dynamic could help City going forward as long as those guys stay healthy. City, a bit of an aging team, but we're trying to find flaws in these two teams that are, I think, right now the 2 best teams in the Premier League, and I don't think anybody's going to fight me on that.
No, and just to throw a mention in on Von, extremely fortunate to finish this game. My God, I've not seen a more blatant red card. Not only the tackle, but then the fact that he was last man. So it was basically a clear goal scoring situation. And he literally just tries to pull a Ramos on Mohamed Salah and gets a yellow card for his trouble. So Anthony Taylor, it's also really nice that here in the last few weeks, Liverpool have played both Manchester United and Manchester City. And in both of them, we just happen to have both officials from old Manchester.
Oh, well,
Gotta love it.
It's fun. It's just fun. Well,
no big deal.
No, not at all. And as we look at the schedule coming forward, Wes mentioning that Liverpool can absolutely drop even one more match. They'll be back in action next Saturday, January 12th, against Brighton and Hove. But that's not the first match of the day. That Saturday starts with 7:30 a.m., a London derby between West Ham and Arsenal. That'll be a match. 10 a.m., you get Leicester City versus Southampton, Palace versus Watford, Burnley versus Fulham, Cardiff versus Huddersfield, and Brighton versus Liverpool at the Amex. Then at 12:30, you get Chelsea versus Newcastle, Rafa versus his old team. At Sunday, 9:15, you get Everton versus Bournemouth. Then 11:30, Tottenham versus Manchester United as Spurs look to do the double on United and hand the old gunner his first loss in charge of United. Then on Monday Night Football on NBC Sports at 3 p.m., it'll be Man City looking to rebound against Wolves. So that is your upcoming Premier League schedule. As we take a look at the table, with their win, City are back within 4 points of Liverpool. Tottenham right now sitting just outside of the top 2 spaces, 2 points back of City. Chelsea 4 points back of Tottenham for third, and Arsenal 3 points back of Chelsea for that 4th place Champions League spot. United just 3 back of Arsenal as well for 5th place, followed by Leicester, Watford, and Wolves. At the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone. Newcastle, Burnley, and Cardiff all sit just outside with 18 points. Southampton is 2 points clear. They need to start picking up points to get back into safety. Fulham, 4 points adrift, and Huddersfield right now 8 points adrift, looking more and more likely that they will be a 2-season team in the Premier League. All right, we head to the League Cup, which takes place next Tuesday and Wednesday, as Tottenham takes on Chelsea at Wembley in the first leg, and then on Wednesday, Man City hosts Burton Albion out of League One. Yeah, those are fair. That's good. Although, as somebody said, somebody was complaining about it, I saw, I think, on Spurs' Facebook page, and I mentioned, I was like, well, to be fair, last time, a couple years ago, when Spurs made their big run in Pochettino's first year to the League Cup title match, their semifinal was against like Sheffield Wednesday. So sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. And of course, speaking of not working in your favor, the FA Cup starts this weekend with every match being on ESPN Plus. Thanks, ESPN. You still do soccer well. But as to not working out well, January 7th, the final match of the 3rd round will be Wolves versus Liverpool. What a way for Liverpool to bounce back with Wolves.
Yeah, you would think, well, they've run this schedule. And, hey, maybe now we can kick back, maybe play a League One team or even a lower championship. No. We got a freaking top 10 Premier League team.
Yeah, couldn't play...
Who we just played.
Couldn't play National League South team Woking FC like Watford is. Oh no. Didn't get Barnett out of the National League. No. You get Wolves. Other matches include Tottenham.
And also, real quick, just think about from Wolves' perspective. They're like, all right, man, FA Cup. We got Liverpool. You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We got the best team in the damn country. What the hell?
I mean, if we look at it, there's Bournemouth plays Brighton and Hove in a Premier League tilt, and I think that's it for Premier League on Premier League action. So, yay.
Premier League on Premier League action.
It's very hot. Tottenham gets Tranmere Rovers on January 4th. Arsenal gets Blackpool on January 5th. Where Manchester City hosts Rotherham in Manchester on January 6th. Where is Chelsea? Oh my God, there's so many teams. Chelsea gets Nottingham Forest on January 5th, and Manchester United gets Reading on January 5th. So those and many more matches are in the 3rd round of the FA Cup coming this weekend. Yay! So now we head into the news and notes, Wes, for our big story of the week. American heartthrob and soon-to-be world record transfer holder for an American, Christian Pulisic, will be heading to the Premier League next summer. But he will be playing for Chelsea as they sign a £58 million deal to bring him from the German side. Pulisic, who of course broke out with the US men's national team, as well as his exploits for Borussia Dortmund in both the Bundesliga and the Champions League, has been a rock for them. He has not found as much playing time this year, but that's because there's another teenager also plays this position that could be another person to smash world record transfer fees in the future. Still, Pulisic has scored 3 times in 18 games for Dortmund this season and has overall been a very, very good player. And again, I think the biggest differentiation here is Pulisic so far this season has not been just and other seasons, has not been just a great American player, playing in Germany. He's been just a great player, and I think that when we look ahead to what he could potentially do, even still at 20 years old right now, as he moves into the Premier League, it could be massive ramifications. Of course, we know Chelsea has a tendency to loan players out, Matt Miazga, and like 8 million other people, but this could be a real impactful signing for Chelsea moving forward when he joins them next summer. Wes, I know we've both been very high on Pulisic going forward. I know there was talk about him going to Liverpool, and that excited you to an extent, but this is a big move for Pulisic. Not sure how much it affects Chelsea going forward, but a big move for the young American.
It's going to be super interesting to see how this works out for him, because, other ramifications, bigger. Let's say really the bigger ramifications here outside of Pulisic is: does this mean that Eden Hazard?
That's certainly true. Yeah,
because a lot of people say, "Oh, okay, now they." That's really the biggest ramification of this whole thing.
Oh, certainly.
Hazard. Of course, here in America. The next thing is an interesting moment when Maurizio Sarri was asked about him, and his comment pretty much said, "Oh, I didn't even know we were looking at him, but yeah, I'm glad to get him. He's a talented player." That says to me that, Chelsea is right back up to all their old tricks where it's just, we're going to go out and buy players, bring in the manager, and the manager's going to have to play with what we give him. And that doesn't always work.
I will interject real quickly on that. Who knows how much spin this is? It has been reported Sarri about a month ago was asked about Pulisic and reportedly signed off on him and liked him. And liked what he saw as a player, but still to not know that you're the actual deal was being done. Like, I understand there being maybe a little bit of separation between manager and director who actually brings in the players. You still should give your manager a bit of a heads up. That's just weird.
But that's Chelsea. Chelsea just does shit. Yeah. I can't say that. The manager was all break Murata when he came in. It's little things that Chelsea does that just kind of keep adding to the dysfunction of that that organization. And as you said, Chelsea not exactly of bringing through young talent. Now that said, they've never really put an outlay for a young player like they have here.
Sure.
This does not seem like one of those players they're going to bring in and send out on loan.
I would hope not, yeah.
That would make no sense to spend £50 million, £58 million and send them out on loan. This isn't one of their, £6 million signings that they're worried about what's going to happen in 3 years. Pulisic is going to be brought in, and with that price tag, they're going to ask him to contribute.
Sure.
And that's the thing. And then the next thing is, it's a lot of money for a 20-year-old who, granted, yes, like you said, they are, Dortmund are playing Jadon Sancho, and they have another young man in that position who are really good. But, and then too with Liverpool, with Chelsea, once again, it makes more sense. You've got Hazard maybe on the way out. Willian is on the back end of his career. Liverpool, you're looking at if they can keep that front group together, I mean, there's another 4 or 5 years of that group. So financially and opportunity-wise, it just didn't make as much sense for Liverpool at this point as maybe it does at Chelsea.
Well, and I think one of the interesting things that Pulisic is going to have to deal with is the interesting thing is you don't normally think of Pulisic. Yes, he can score, but he seems to be sort of like a winger who's going to also distribute pretty well and play good passes in and get things, and he'll pop up for the odd goal on occasion. it's gonna be hard to say like, yeah, it's that kind of player who's only gonna score maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year with that price tag, and that's not his fault. That's not Pulisic's fault at all. And who knows? Maybe he becomes a bigger scorer once he hits the Premier League, depending on what Maurizio Sarri does with him. But that is going to be something hard to maybe justify to fans, saying, "Well, we paid almost 60 million for this guy, and he's only given us a couple goals a season from an attacking position." He was brought on to maybe be the heir apparent to Hazard. Like, is that gonna fly with them? And I know Chelsea fans are very calm, level-headed, definitely not anti-Semitic people.
Just like the front office, right?
Yeah. So yeah, just like the front office. So I do wonder how much pressure is gonna be on someone like Pulisic coming in with that kind of a price tag.
Well, and now too, the big thing with Pulisic is Chelsea have bought potential here.
That is true. Yes.
And the thing is, 2 years ago, he would not have cost this.
No.
This is obviously a result of the inflated Neymar market. Everything has gone up times 3 pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I mean, they're bringing in a good, also bringing in a guy who, they've got the feel in 5 years he's going to be a much better player than he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're aiming for. Now, how many managers will there be between now and then? Therein lies the question. And the next question is, when will they sell him to Roma so Liverpool can buy him?
There you go.
Or Southampton for that matter. But it's... And then you've got the people out there, they'll make all that money back in shirt sales in the U.S. And yeah, they'll make money back in that. But you don't just buy a guy. That's your Real Madrid at times. You don't just buy a guy just because he's going to sell shirts. You've got to see some significant value in him. And I believe Chelsea do, and I believe he is a good player for Chelsea as the years go by.
I do think that that's an interesting point you mentioned, though, and it's something I've been thinking about jersey sales in the U.S. And kit sales. I think it's very interesting that, yes, it's been very good to have a big American talent go to a Premier League squad, but what are the past couple we've seen? We've seen Josie Altidore and his failed run at Sunderland. We've seen Clint Dempsey at Fulham and Tottenham, and we saw Landon Donovan at Everton. And this was also when the Premier League was just kind of starting to creep into the American consciousness. Mm-hmm. Now that more and more people have, and a lot of the people who have joined in to the Premier League scene have probably already picked a club, I wonder how many are going to be like, well, fuck Chelsea, but I'll still buy a Pulisic kit because he's an American. Like I'm sure they'll sell it to a lot of American fans, but I don't know how many fans they're going to pick up, because Chelsea's not a team, I feel at least, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, that it's like, oh, well, Chelsea's my second team. They're fun to pull for. They're easy to pull for as that second club. Like hey, Man City's my number one team, but hey, I'll pull for Chelsea. I'm a Wolves fan, but hey, if Chelsea's not playing Wolves, I'll pull for the Blues. Like, nobody fucking does that. So
no, Chelsea are fucking hateful and freaking. I go from fucking to freaking. I can't.
It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, they're run by like dirty Russian oil money.
Yeah. So I do wonder how much of an increase. I know there will be some, and then the American Chelsea install base will, I think, flock to that. But those people were probably already buying Chelsea merchandise. I don't know how much more merchandise Chelsea's going to sell.
Well, but what you'll get is you'll get that casual American fan who,
okay,
they may be a Manchester City fan at the moment, but it's going to be the fan who, hey, I'll be a Chelsea fan now because they've got my favorite player, so I'm going to be their fan now. You're not going to get like the hardcore Liverpool or United or Arsenal or Tottenham fans who are suddenly just going to switch allegiance. You're going to get that casual American fan. And also, once again, that's where America as a whole is right now. Is more of a casual thing that's becoming a little more serious. And for Chelsea, it could be this one big player who suddenly, swings the region. I mean, you think about it, Liverpool with Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane being maybe the two top African players, especially Salah. You heard last year about how the Muslim world just suddenly, oh God, we love Liverpool because Mo Salah's like the greatest Muslim player there.
Yeah.
And suddenly there's all these new Liverpool because, Mohamed Salah. So there is potential for that in the United States where, you're getting these guys who are new fans who, man, hey, the Premier League, it's exciting. I'd like to get onto this train. Well, who do I want to pull for? Oh, yeah, they've got my favorite player, the American guy, Christian Pulisic. Or however you say it.
Yeah.
He's my favorite player because he's the best American player. And suddenly you've got quote-unquote Chelsea fans buying those brand new shirts.
Yay.
Yeah. So, I mean, there will be a financial uptick to it. And obviously the United States is a huge market.
And we will be keeping track on this. Again, Pulisic will not be officially part of Chelsea until the summer transfer window when he goes. He will still be playing for Dortmund through the rest of this season. And one last note, I will just say really briefly, this is why you should have gone to Germany, Jordan Morris. Has anybody talked about Jordan Morris in the last year or two?
Not since we buried him for not going to Germany.
So, just saying, kid. Just saying. All right, so that's going to do it for news and notes. Let's hit the watch for. Wes, what are you watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
Watched work because that's what I did all week.
Nice, Sue.
Did I do anything? Oh, I saw Aquaman.
Oh, you saw Aquaman. How was it?
It was okay.
That's you know what, for a DC movie, that's pretty good.
To me, it wasn't as good as Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Which is kind of the gold standard of DC movies. Other than that, there's nothing to really compare it to. Yes. The rest of them all pretty much suck.
You didn't like Suicide Squad?
The thing is, to me, as a standalone movie, I kind of like Suicide Squad. But trying to plug it in that universe is still, we could go to a whole diatribe of what the fuck is DC lives.
Who knows?
I mean, it's like you had this franchise that just had all the potential in the world. And it's like, man, there are so few ways we can screw this up, but let's figure out how. Let's put them to the test. And, just, I don't know. I will tell you, every time I see a new one, it sort of makes Suicide Squad come together a little more because I'm like, oh, now I see what's showing all these people. But anyway, I like Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
I like his character. I like the whole Aquaman character. It was just, I mean, there was some shit in it that just made you completely roll your eyes. But I mean, it was a fun movie. It ran a little long, but they packed a lot into it. For what it's worth, they packed a lot into it.
Okay.
For a near 2.5 hour movie. But it felt a little long, and at the end it was kind of, okay. But I mean, obviously they're building everything. But as a standalone, I mean, I don't think it was a bad movie.
Okay.
I willingly paid my money and don't regret it.
That's a good that should be one of the quotes they put up after it's been in theaters for a couple weeks. I don't regret putting money into it.
I don't regret going to see it. But let's put it this way. I saw it once. If I never see it again in my life, it'll be fine. I saw Infinity War 4 times. There
you go.
And paid to go see it 4 times. So.
There you go. Oh, I can't wait for the next one. My watch 4. As I've been going through a bit of a Brooklyn Nine-Nine binge over the last week or so. Oh man, we are 7 days away from new Nine-Nine on a new network, NBC. So very, very excited for episodes 1 of season 6, which right now is entitled Honeymoon. Then the episode after that is entitled Hitchcock and Scully, so that's going to be fun. And then
Jesus Christ, yes.
The episode after that is called The Tattler. Who will be the Tattler? I can't wait for all the boys and girls from Brooklyn Nine-Nine to be back on new episodes. Again, that'll be 7 days from now, so next Thursday on NBC will be new episodes. So that's going to do it for Watch 4. Wes, do we get a So Raw this week? I know some sad stuff happened, so yay.
I could give two shits about what happened on Raw this week.
I thought you were going to go a completely different route with that.
Well, I'm just saying, didn't watch either of those.
I was like, I didn't give two shits about who died this week. I want to talk about Raw.
Oh God, no! I almost literally cried. In 2017 was like the year of celebrity deaths.
It was.
In 2018, I mean, we had some rough ones. Don't get me wrong. I mean, my God, Burt gone. But 2019's already kind of kicked off, and they've already hit us hard.
Yeah.
And the very first one to go was great, Mean Gene Okerlund. Yeah. If you grew up watching 80s WWF or 90s WCW, you know all about Mean Gene. He pretty much he is the greatest stand-up interviewer of all time. His past interviews are just absolutely epic. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ric Flair, just gave him amazing stuff. When he would play off Bobby Heenan, it was some of the greatest, just gold. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful promos that you will ever see anywhere. He carried himself. He had this like feeling of just class. Because he was always, Mean Gene was always in his tux. He was always looking good. You always felt like your granddad. And I always enjoyed him, man. And just such a big part of my childhood was Mean Gene Okerlund. And, I'm going to miss, he's been out of the business for a while, don't get me wrong. But, he's going to be one. So,
yeah.
Mean Gene. On some on a better note,
yes,
this week there is some other wrestling news. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, has been announced, and it is the brainchild of Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. And major funding is coming from Tony Khan. Now, of course, Tony Khan's father is Fulham owner and Jacksonville Jaguars owner Shad Khan. And his son Tony getting into the wrestling business and doing it with pretty much the hottest acts in wrestling right now in the Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes. So a lot more to come from that. They haven't announced TV, anything like that yet. Certainly signings. There are rumors out there. But, that's big time. It's another company, guys, to go work. And you just figure with those guys right now, everything they touch is turning to gold. So it's definitely something to keep our eye on. And I believe as we speak, Wrestle Kingdom is going on. Yeah, it's that time of year, Wrestle Kingdom 13. Let's see if it's actually going on right now. Yes, it is. It is live as we speak. So going on in Tokyo right now. The biggest match of the night, Chris Jericho and Tetsuya Naito is the one I'm looking forward to. So and Kenny Omega versus Tanahashi for the title. So I know that's all I've got really this week, guys. I'm really losing my. And I'm not going any deeper, so that to you.
Oh, are we really not doing phrasing anymore? Hey, Wes Bradshaw, you don't need to do any more phrases because we'll take it the rest of the way home. That is going to do it for episode 243 of the Foreign Affair podcast. One more big thanks to NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. Even this podcast is about to, as well as Alicia's Pills and Things. You can find both of them on the social media, as well as us on Twitter. As a collective, we are at AFA Pod. Wes, what are you?
I'm Wes Bradshaw. No, I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
Well done. I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can also email us at allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Big thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, the iTunes Music Store, or wherever you can get your great podcast from. We're also on YouTube. All our episodes get uploaded to our YouTube page as well. So that's going to do it for episode 243. Next week will be episode 244, where we recap the greatness that is the FA Cup and the semifinals of the League Cup. Before we do that, Wes, do you want to do anything else before we get out of here?
Did you have something in mind?
Not really. I was just...
Okay. I don't really have anything to add. I don't give a shit about basketball.
Yay, no shits about basketball. So for my calling crime, Wes Bradshaw, I am Edward Green. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us as we kick off 2019. And as always, stay safe and enjoy the football.
And good night, Liverpool. It's okay, guys. We're going to take a little sad nap. We'll be back.
There you go. You know who's probably still taking a sad nap is Notre Dame fans.
Oh, God, I forgot about college football.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised you didn't mention that. It doesn't matter.
Not at the forefront. We'll talk about it next week.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.